moving forward, 11 February 2023, we will check our movement like this. We could observe that we have a lot of distortion in the regular environment. Considering that those distortion happens inside the institution and has orientation and direction and a sense and even the intensity, sometimes putting my institution on risk by the decisions made inside the institution. The energy at the decision can be tracked and traced, having the paradigm as comparative, and we doing all around, of course, have the pandemic crime indeed already traced in the way you have. We will check that the main drivers at the observation in the last 4 months, at least since November 2022, was the show business. And I have this big area here in the very first moment at the show business. And they could check that I have the white collar crime. And in a second moment, I have another area here leading to something kind of fashion which unveils the bondage, dominance, and submission. And in the last moment, I will have the areas on it. We could check this model, fashion, and I will put the Federal Bureau of Investigation as the driver. Now we could arrange this as the Gauss distribution, considering values on it, the negative value, the positive value, the zero in the center, as the area that kind of are the limit between two different sides as binary relation. The limit crossed allow you to be at the area with the negative sense or the positive sense. Of course that, for instance, an area like Brazil will have no idea about difference of things because the failure is integrated. And we, in areas like this, as an integrated failure, we must try to have as paradigm and observe things, especially with areas that are not described by Constitution as integrated control with failure, integrated failure. The failure inside each department indeed has a name as an environment of fail, which is the Banach space. The Banach space was used at the very first part and piece of our theory, considering the budget or the budget, the bounds that was used to do the individualization by things, crimes you did, all illegal, with direction against the law, intensity huge against this research, which is an anti-crime research, and a legal credit charge according with the Constitution, not only in Brazil, but observe the legitimacy United States of America in the same way, and Europe at the Constitution, because corruption was always wrong, especially institutional corruption. And the other element is the direction against the law, the sense against this research, and the intensity huge against this research. The continuity and systematic behavior allowed us to put financial penalties by the hopes in the dishonest behavior that you did, and in the moment you did, during the charge or the presentation of argument to have this charge was white collar crime. In Brazil, it's on law, the article 313 A and B of the criminal law, which is the fake record. The criminal association at the transnational organized crime by public departments observing the transnational organized crime law in Brazil, 12,350, were not part of any kind of special task force at the organized crime. You are the organized crime as itself, and you are not able to assume this. We must, and indeed we had this proven. It's the facts. Then the silence integrated you all at the 13, even at the international level, during the cooperation observed the Article 4, Item 9 of the Brazilian Constitution, which allowed me to do this as an international citizen. And you put my citizenship down in Brazil. I used my second citizenship on Europe as Portugal, and requesting, for instance, the derogatory condition as American for a while to present this. And this entire activity, guess what? It's not profitable, it's a self-defense. So you have right to do nothing as ask money or claim industrial. You did nothing, you are the offender. Brazilian peers. Then we could check this model, and I have variables at the regular area, having the approach with the underground, in general, fashion, by white-collar crime, and having the officers tracking them, doing the monitoring the very first moment, them having kind of them under protection or witness protection, and sometimes inside the circle they can be protected. Beyond the circles, kind of they are running things by their own risks. The officers can do nothing. It's sad, but it's the reality. And they will walk at the underground, under the protection. We are getting in touch with the elements, issues, variables, and for sure have their cultures needed and required to do the prisons. Was the second part of our argument. Then we could observe that the integration we observe in our areas indeed are in our areas by the association of failured areas all around. Because, but for instance, the America has no capacity to do a decision against the organized crime without being impacted by the decisions made against the organized crime. In the same way in Brazil, in a deeper level, because the institutional array is the organized crime as itself, with distribution of power by nepotism and corruption. Observe the Article 74 and 23, Item 1 the Brazilian Constitution. The legal arguments are represented, the entire solid arguments of notorious facts and proofs indeed had no way to escape. And they must be by the chairs at the top on Brazil and be isolated with, especially from body get inside a cargo flight that will present the decision by a machine. If the cage got locked, you are guilty. Indeed you are. Then we have the ideas relation. The East, the West, and the Center. Was the very first thing. We had the association having hierarchical levels, indeed can be observed by the extension of domain or by the density of the domain. For instance, if you are a single variable inside a hotend environment with the legitimacy to do this, you have a huge density, and of course that the environment will must follow the orders presented by you or the arguments presented by you, not only by governance but especially as legitimacy. We can do this in a derogatory way, USA, NATO, or whatever. And this kind of thing as mobilization of organized crime by association and integration after having the interaction oriented by failure goes inside a space, institution, failure, qualifying this space as an space oriented by the value corrosive negative 1. Then we use the COBOL to trace the value corrosive negative 1 inside institution, because institutional failure and institutional crime only goes inside institution. You are trapped there. You all. You must have the requirement of information observed in Brazil, Article 5, guarantee number 33, wasn't observed, which proves that you are indeed having the interest as do not have the proper information presented or the falsification of data to avoid the legal consequences as accuracy. Not only by this, but especially by murders of political deputies with payments on the police department involving the judges, the judicial system, and the prosecution that presents or invented the proofs to keep this falsification. It's a fact too. And the deep web as system of incrimination and clandestine ways of communication, since associated with crimes as financial crimes, indeed, but things at the fintech crimes. You violate the all elements as privacy, including your personal private data as financial data and bank accounts, to take advantage and steal money off the proper the saving account, use the banks, and a lot of things. Trust running by intimidation, culture of fear, and individualization by density as energy in each decision, abusive, and in the same way as observed since the very beginning of this year for 2014, you are unable to present your reasons by law because you are running a criminal system, a systemic mobilization of local crime to act as a criminal system. Have a great weekend.